Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I hope all of you are fine, safe, and healthy and protected from this COVID. I welcome you all in this online teaching system, and probably this is our first lecture through this YouTube. But although we have introduced ourselves through the introductory video displayed to you of the whole department, and we've also taken your Zoom session vivas. So I hope that this COVID is over soon, so that we can resume our normal routine activities in which we can see you, interact with you, and that is the best way of teaching, I think, both for the students as well as for us. So with that, we have started with general pharmacology, and senior professors, Professor Maqsood Ahmed, Professor Saeed Anwar, have been delivering a lot about the introduction and the basis of the pharmacology, the general pharmacology. Because remember one thing, the general pharmacology and autonomic pharmacology is the backbone of pharmacology. If you have grasp on these two topics, then of course you would be able to get more and more concept about the specialized pharmacology like cardiovascular, respiratory, CNS, and GIT. Although chemotherapy is a total different entity, but every time you take up a drug from any system, you have to study about its different pharmacokinetic parameters, pharmacodynamics. You should be familiar with these terms, that what are adverse effects, what do you mean by contraindications, how a drug gets absorbed, what is its bioavailability, what is its plasma half-life. So that is why we are emphasizing more and more on the definitions, and I hope all of you have got the handouts of the pharmacology definitions. We have gone through a small viva as well as interactive tutorial, and we will keep on reinforcing this concept of journal pharmacology, because you should have a strong grip on this chapter. And with that, we move on to the first parameter of pharmacokinetics, that is absorption. And as we have already told you that this pharmacokinetics have different parameters, that is absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion. So regarding the absorption, as the name is indicating, the passage of drugs from the site of administration to the systemic circulation, right? And it is one of the pharmacokinetic process, because once the drug is taken through any route, it is going to be absorbed. Okay? So there are various factors which affect the rate and extent of absorption. We call them like patient-related factors and drug-related factors. They are broadly classified into two categories. If we move on to our first category, that is the drug-related factors. What are the different properties of a drug which can alter the absorption? Although you are taking a simple tablet of Panadol or aspirin, Disprin for headache, but you don't know. There are many factors which affect the absorption of a drug, and that are chemical properties of the drug, which we'll be discussing one by one. Then there are patient related factors. What is the age of the patient? What is the gender of the patient? What is his genetic status of the patient? Has he taken the food, spicy food, protein rich food, calcium containing food? What is the effect on the absorption? So there are hundreds of things which affect the drug absorption. So we'll be discussing the important ones, and we'll be applying them when we study the various systemic pharmacology. So drug-related factors. First of all, be curious. Think, what can be the factors which affect the drug? What are the properties of the drug? Is it color, its composition, its method of preparation, or its anything which comes into your mind? So number one is lipid solubility, which means that if a drug is lipid soluble, the absorption is going to increase. It's a direct relation. This is the most important factor, lipid solubility. The more the drug is lipid soluble, the more it is going to penetrate the barriers, right? Because this you have been studying in your physiology and biochemistry as well. So this is not a new thing, but this is a very important thing now from the pharmacological point of view. Then we have degree of ionization, that is the Henderson-Hasselbalch equation, which you have done in biochemistry most probably. And ionization means that the state of the drug in ionized or unionized state, that we'll be discussing in detail also. Then we have the concentration of the drug. Like if you give a drug in the prescription, if you see case what is the dosage of the drug, dosage form of the drug, the concentration, like it's 500 milligram, 1000 milligram, 1 gram, whatever. This is the concentration of the drug. Physical state, are you taking a drug in the syrup form, in injectable form, in oral form, in the transdermal patches, or so many routes, so many states, right? So this is the physical state. Like sometimes we under 12 years they just take in the syrup form. Some people are reluctant, some children are reluctant, even at the more than age of 12 they cannot take it to the oral route. So the state matters. Is it a suspension, or is it you have to prepare by adding or diluting it, or as you can use it as such? So the state of the drug is also very important. We're discussing them in detail in our next lecture. Then molecular size. If it's a small molecular size, larger molecular size. Some drugs are so small that they can easily cross the lipid bilayer, but some have a larger size. They cannot cross the lipid bilayer, so the absorption is limited to that area in which they cannot cross further into the body. Then dosage form, which is also seen in prescription. Particle size, it once again has overlapping with the concentration of the drug or the molecular size. So these are the various drug related factors. The most important one is, once again I'm emphasizing, lipid solubility and the degree of ionization. So there are a few terminologies with which you should be familiar with. Number one is disintegration time, the rate of breakup of a drug when it goes inside the body. And then dissolution rate, the rate at which it goes into a solution. For example, if you are mixing a drug or diluting it or dissolving it in a particular solution before it's used, so that is called dissolution rate. Then formulation is very important. The drug has been formulated. What other substances are added to make a drug, like that will be you will be covering in the pharmacy practicals, like there are vehicles, excipients, which make the drug more absorbable, they more palatable. So there are various factors which affect the formulation of a drug. Even that matters. If you are taking the same drug which is under different the compound which we are taking is manufactured by two pharmaceutical companies. For example, if we say that ciproxin, this very commonly used antibiotic, and that is contains the drug, that substance is ciprofloxacin. So it is coming under the two trade names. There are many. I'm just giving two examples: ciproxin and Novidat as well. Novidat also contains ciprofloxacin. Similarly, if you see that there is another drug which is Flagyl, which we are particularly using for various infections, right? So it is containing metronidazole. There is another pharmaceutical company which also manufactures or formulates this drug, which is one of it is Clint. It is also containing metronidazole. But the efficacy of the drug varies, because this is very important. The formulation is very important, right? So this also affects the absorption of a drug. So there are many things which you have to see when you have to prescribe the drug as a future doctor, right? So there are other factors which are patient-based factors, in which number one is route of drug administration. Very important route. Of course, till now you have covered so many concepts of general pharmacology covered by Professor Saeed Anwar, in which you have discussed about the various routes of drug administration. Like, if you just imagine, there is an oral route, there is a parenteral route, Parenteral means any route other than enteral. Enteral means through the GIT. It can be through rectal route or it can be through oral. So route of administration basically is very important. Of course, if a drug is given directly into the circulation like an intravenous route, that is going to have more absorption, quick absorption as compared to the drug which has to go through the oral route. Why? It's a big question mark, and you have already covered this, because that drug which is given to the enteral route, particularly oral, has a bioavailability less than the intravenous route. Why? Because it undergoes first pass effect, which is also called pre-systemic metabolism or first pass metabolism. So this is a very important definition, and this is a commonly asked question. Note down, students, over here. It's a commonly asked question. Okay, why the bioavailability of the drugs given by oral route is less than that of the intravenous route. So you have to justify your answer by saying that oral drugs are undergoing the first pass effect, and you have to define the first pass effect, you have to explain it, and then hereby saying that they have a less bioavailability. And then you can be asked, and this question has been previously asked, what are the various methodologies by which you can increase the bioavailability of a drug? So it is, of course, you can increase the dose of the drug, you can increase the route of drug administration, or you can give certain enzyme inhibitors which inhibit the metabolism of that particular drug. So keeping it in the body for a longer period of time, making it more bioavailable. So there are various factors which we'll be discussing when we will be going through the other parameters of pharmacokinetics. In the pH of the absorbing surface, very important. Since we are discussing the patient-related factors, so pH of the absorbing surface is very important. As you know, okay, what are the basic absorbing surfaces of the body from where there is maximum absorption? It can be through the stomach, it can be through the small intestine. So basically there is a rule of thumb that the acidic drugs, they are more absorbed in the acidic pH, and basic drugs, they are absorbed more in the basic pH. So stomach has a acidic pH, you all know, and small intestine having a basic or alkaline pH. So acidic drugs like aspirin, they are absorbed more in the acidic pH, and vice versa, right? Then surface area of the absorption. This is a very older concept, and you all must be knowing it. Larger the surface area, larger is the absorption. For example, the small intestine has greater absorption as compared to any other organ, because absorption is occurring from various body organs and sites. The drug is absorbed from the skin as well, right? It is absorbed through the inhalational route as well. So larger, more the absorption. Then we have thickness of diffusing path, that is has an inverse relationship, and this is also very simple, that more the thickness of the absorbing organ, and the slower would be the absorption. Vascularity of the absorbing surface, it is a direct relationship. More the vascular that area is, the more would be the absorption, and that is why if you have noticed that whenever you get an intramuscular injection at the deltoid area, you always, the doctor is rubbing it. That is not to make sure that there is no pain, rather that is to increase the vascularity or the blood supply of the local area. Okay, and next is absorption from GIT. In the patient related factors, we have presence of food. There are various food items which make the drug more absorbable, or some food items which should not be taken with a drug because they hinder the absorption of a drug. One typical example is that of tetracyclines. Tetracycline is an antibiotic which is to be given with caution if a patient is taking a dairy product like milk, yogurt, right, or cheese, because they contain the divalent cations like calcium and magnesium, and they form non-absorbable soluble chelating components which get deposited in various tissues and organs of the body. So this is very important that some drugs are to be taken empty stomach, And some drugs should not be taken empty stomach, particularly the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs like aspirin. They should be taken with food, right? Because they ulcerate the mucosa of the stomach as well. Presence of other drug, this is very important. There are many individuals which are taking many drugs at a time, or more than two or more than one drug. So you have to be very careful while prescribing a drug as a doctor, that you do not prescribe any two drugs or three drugs or multiple drugs together, because there is a likely outcome of drug interaction. It's a very important topic. We'll be discussing that in our the end of the general pharmacology, drug interaction, and once again we'll be discussing that at the end of the pharmacology, when we'll have covered all the drugs, right? So it is, you have to be very particular that you do not prescribe this drug. Some drug may affect the metabolism, some drug may affect its excretion, some drug may have more plasma protein binding, so it may affect the absorption. So presence of other drugs has also to be kept in mind. Then we have GIT motility. As the name is indicating, greater the GIT motility means more the peristalsis, there will be less contact time of the drug in the body. So in case of diarrhea, the absorption of the drug would be decreased, and vice versa. Okay. Then we have metabolism. This is another whole pharmacokinetic parameter which we'll be discussing in detail. Metabolism, absorption is also affected by the metabolism. There are various enzyme systems which metabolize the drug, right? And there are some drugs which metabolize it at a faster rate, some they are metabolized at a slower rate, some are which inhibit the metabolism of other drug, some are which are inducing the metabolism of other drugs. So you have to be very careful, because all these factors affect the absorption of a drug. Similarly, GIT condition, since the drug has to be absorbed from various sites like stomach, small intestine. So if there is a pathology of stomach or the liver or the GIT from where the drug has to be absorbed, so of course the absorption is going to be affected. If there is any ulceration, if there is any inflammatory disorder of the intestine, then the absorption would also be hindered. So you have to keep in mind these important factors which can affect the absorption of a drug. Okay, and we'll go slowly, because I already mentioned to you that it's a very important topic of general pharmacology. So unless you have a proper grip on this topic, then you'll be able to master it, and then you will understand the next topic. So I'll be probably dividing this absorption of the drugs in 2 or 3 further lectures, so that you get delivered the concept of absorption in small chunks. Then there is P-glycoproteins as well, which are, you have already studied in detail, might be in your biochemistry, that these are the efflux proteins which kind of pump out the drug, so the drug does not enter into the cell. And if it is not entering inside, then of course how it's going to be absorbed. So the absorption of the drug also is affected by these P-glycoproteins. So if we talk about the most important factors which affect the absorption of a drug, as I earlier told you, it's lipid solubility or the lipid aqueous partition coefficient. As I told you, it's got a direct relationship with the absorption. The more the drug is lipid soluble, the more it's going to be absorbed. So how do you define this coefficient, or the lipid solubility of a drug? Is the measure of how readily a drug enters the lipid medium from an aqueous medium. So this is the definition of lipid aqueous partition coefficient. Then we have degree of ionization. I'll just go through it in a very like touching it, so that in our next lecture we will be discussing this in detail. The degree of ionization. The extent to which a drug becomes ionized depends upon 2 factors: pH of the medium from where the drug is going to be absorbed, and pKa of the drug. So the 2 things which you have to remember is there is pKa of the drug and pH of the medium. As I earlier told you, acidic drug are more absorbed in acidic pH. Basic drug more absorbed in basic pH. So in opposite pH, when the drugs are exposed to the opposite pH medium, then they get ionized. And ionized drugs are polar, they are water soluble, and they are more excretable. So the absorption of the drug would be decreased in this way. So now we just kind of wind up the topic. It's a very brief outline about the absorption. We will be covering it in detail in our next lecture. The ionization, the concept of ionization, various numericals related to the ionization which are frequently asked in your exam as well. So regarding the your assignment, just note down that you have to elaborate what are the various patient related factors which affect the absorption of a drug. Okay, thank you very much.